Ooh, yeah. One, two. I thought today was the 20th, but it was yesterday, and I forgot it was and I realized that yesterday was the 15-year anniversary of the passing of one of the most amazing performers in the ring, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Macho Man Randy Savage passed away 15 years ago, yesterday. Crazy to think it's been 15 years. 15 years. Where did that gone? Seriously. Macho Man Randy Savage was the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time, in my opinion. One of the greatest WWF champions ever. When he won that title at WrestleMania 4, he owed that belt for 1 year. Randy Savage, one of those people in the business you loved watching. You loved watching performing. You loved watching him do commentary, do amazing matches with the likes of Ricky Steamboat. You got amazing matches with Ricky Steamboat, the Ultimate Warrior, WrestleMania 7 and 92, Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 5, the Fourth Count Era match with Crush. The people are still talking about the match with Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage from WrestleMania 3. People still talking about the match with Ultimate Warrior SummerSlam and the 97 and the WrestleMania 7 match. It's because of Randy Machoman Savage. Yes, Ricky Steamboat also had put on a good performance at WrestleMania 3, but WrestleMania 7 and WrestleMania and SummerSlam 92, Randy Savage put the work on, did the more work with the Ultimate Warrior. Randy was one of those peep wrestlers. When he was the heel, when he was the babyface, he was too good for the business. A second generation wrestler is his dad Angelo Poffo and his brother Lenny Poffo, aka the Genius. Randy Savage, I could talk about Randy Savage every day of the week, 7 days a week. He was one of those people that I respected more, not only in the ring but out the ring. Randy Savage was just so amazing. Let's talk about his career, his personal career, shall we? Wrestling career, sorry. He held the Intercontinental for 2 years. 2 years he held the Intercontinental from 1985 to 1987. He defeated Tito Santana for that belt. I went on to lose it 2 years later against Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 3. Randy Savage I just loved it. He just one of those people I loved watching. He had an amazing feud with Ricky Steamboat. With he defeated Tito Santana for that Intercontinental at that main event. He had a good match with, I don't know if you guys don't know this match, he and Strikeforce with Martel and Tito Santana had a good cage match against Art Foundation and Uncle Top Man. It was on the cage, one of the cage videos back many years ago, and I wish that it was released on a DVD, but it's not on Netflix. But you never know in the future, it might be. But I think it's on YouTube somewhere. But I highly recommend watching that match. 6 great competitors, especially Randy Savage, Rick Martel, Tito Santana, and Bret Hart. Anvil and Oki were decent, but them four were decent, especially Randy and Bret. When he won the WWF title at WrestleMania 4 against $1 Million Man in the tournament, he defeated three great athletes to get before the final. Butch Reed, Greg Dan Valentine, and One Man Gang, aka Akeem. He went on to join the immortal Hulk Hogan, the Mega Powers, with Miss Elizabeth as their manager. That storyline with Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan for 1 year was brilliant. The Mega Powers got together at WrestleMania 4 at Atlantic City, and a year after, the Mega Powers exploded. Same city, same arena, same building. What better way to end the Mega Powers, where the Mega Powers started at the same arena, same city. At the same city, same arena, when the Mega Powers started. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Mega Powers feuded with the Mega Bucks from WrestleMania 4 to SummerSlam, but Randy Savage dropped that belt to Hulk Hogan, but Randy Savage held that belt for 371 days. That's impressive. Obviously, managed by Miss Elizabeth, and again, the sensational Sherry went on to become the Macho King, one of the absolutely brilliant Macho. The Macho King name was so good. He defeated with the retirement match with Ultimate Warrior. But at the Royal Rumble, what if Randy Savage entered the Royal Rumble match at Royal Rumble Night 1? He'd be facing off the British Bulldog, Orc, Animal, Earthquake, Mr. Perfect. That would have been a massive match with Randy Savage and all them. But I wonder why he didn't really appear. I wonder what the story was. I wonder why he didn't really appear in the match. But he did cost the Ultimate Warrior the ref title, and which led up to one of the greatest matches of all time, WrestleMania 7, with Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior, which led up to the retirement of Randy Savage, but they reunited with Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage, which led up to the wedding at SummerSlam. But on the DVD, on the network of that, you didn't see no reception. But on the video, on the DVD, you did. On the video on DVD, we saw Jake the Snake and the Undertaker attacking Randy Savage and where Miss Elizabeth opened the gift, and we all thought it was just a normal person, but no, it was a snake, and and uh, and Jake the Snake Roberts and Undertaker attacked Randy Savage with the urn, and Jake the Snake was more tormenting the living days at Miss Elizabeth with the snake, which set that up a great feud, one of the greatest feud in 1991, in my opinion. We led up to the reinstatement before which well, we all wanted Randy Savage to be reinstated to join forces with LOD, the Big Boss Man, against Natural Disasters, IRS, and Jake Roberts. But before that, on a Saturday night main event, I don't know when it were, on a show, Jake the Snake Roberts attacked Randy Savage. He was tormented. He was like, encouraged him to go in the ring. Randy Savage went in the ring, got clotheslined on the apron, and he got tied up to the rope. And Jake Roberts got a snake, and he bit him, poisoned him. But was so back then, it was scary to think. It was scary to watch something like that when we were little, when we thought, holy shit, it's what the fuck's happening. But when I got older, I realized this was a great story, great feud, great build up. And then President Jack Tunney reinstated Randy Savage at the Survivor Series, but he wouldn't be able to compete at the Survivor Series match, which I thought would have been. Which I thought I was gutted because I wanted to see Randy Savage team up with the LOD and the Big Boss Man take on Jake the Snake, Natural Disasters, and Errol Shyster, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But you can do that on the games, which is pretty cool. But I love to see it in real life, but it is what it is. We led up to the match on Tuesday in Texas with Randy Savage taking on Jake the Snake, which wasn't a match, it was just a violent fight. Obviously, he won, but it was just it wasn't finished. It wasn't finished. Obviously, which led up to them two ended the feud outside that main event, which led up to the Undertaker turning babyface thanks to Randy Savage and all that. That heel to babyface where Jake the Snake Roberts was gonna hit Miss Elizabeth with a chair or Randy Savage from behind the curtain, and we all thought it was gonna happen, but no, Undertaker stopped Jake from doing that, and I think so that when the Undertaker became babyface because with Randy Savage and Jake. We led up to the match with Randy. We went to WrestleMania 8, the story with Randy Savage and Ric Flair for the WWF title. We led up to the matchup with Randy Savage vs Ric Flair. That should have been the main event. That should have been the main event of WrestleMania 8. Not Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice. No. Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice should not be in the main event. It should have been Randy Savage and Ric Flair. Because the build-up with Ric Flair and Randy Savage was miles better than the Sid Justice and Hulk Hogan's build-up. But fortunately, no. Hulk Hogan had to be. Hogan was Hulk Hogan, but that match was poor. But the Randy Savage and Ric Flair was freaking beautiful. we led up to the match with Randy Savage won, which led up to the match at SummerSlam '92, where we took on the Ultimate Warrior at Wembley Stadium, the old Wembley Stadium, for the WWF title. What a match! What a match, and what an ending. People thought whose corner Mr. Perfect were going to be in. We all thought it was going to be Randy Savages or Ultimate Warriors, but it was just a twisted, but it was nobody. It was no one. But what a match, what a feud, what a feud. And then he went to semi-retirement, retired in '93. He didn't do a lot of matches. He wrestled at the Royal Rumble '93. I think he could have won that, or maybe Mr. Perfect, but it is what it is. And then that was his last match at pay-per-view until the Survivor Series. And then after the Survivor Series matchup, we played Mr. Perfect, and it was Randy Savage, 1, 2, 3 Kids, Monty Jannetty, and Razor. They teamed up against Diesel, Kevin Nash, Mick Martel, Adam Bomb, Errol Shyster. That wasn't a bad match. That was last time they had a big. And then obviously he wrestled in the Royal Rumble again. Then WrestleMania 10 against Crush, and that was the last match he had at a WWF pay-per-view, WWE pay-per-view. Because a few months after that, he left and went to jump ship to WCW because he wanted to do one more run in the ring, and he wanted to feud with Shawn Michaels. He wanted to feud with Shawn Michaels, and they didn't let him for 1 year. He wanted to have a program with Shawn Michaels, and he didn't let that happen. It's a shame. And I would love to see that happen. I would have seen Randy Savage versus Shawn Michaels story in 95, 94, 95. That would have been a good story, but unfortunately he jumped to WCW, and then after wrestling he went to do rapping. He got a CD album on iTunes, and to be honest with you, it's not a bad album. It's a pretty good album. The one about Hulk Hogan and the one about Mr. Perfect. The Mr. Perfect one really heartwarming. Randy Savage. There's so many matches I would love to see him against. Him against The Undertaker. Him against Mr. Perfect. Randy Savage versus the British Bulldog. Randy Savage versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Savage versus Randy Orton. Savage versus The Rock. Elbow drop versus the People's Elbow. Randy Savage versus Shawn Michaels. The 96 Shawn Michaels. 96 Shawn Michaels, not the 1992 Shawn Michaels. That Shawn Michaels. Randy Savage versus anyone in this era. Roman Reigns. In the Attitude Era, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H. You know? But unfortunately, it never happened. It's a shame. It's a shame that he didn't have one more run with the WWE. And to me, Randy Savage is and was the greatest performer of all time. People say Ric Flair, yeah, number one. People say The Undertaker, yeah, Undertaker number one, Randy Savage number two. That's my opinion. People say Shawn, and that's fine. But in my opinion, The Undertaker and Randy Savage is two great performers, and I would love to see them do a program. But it is what it is. I'd love to have met him in person. I'd love to have shake his hand, tell him what a great performer he was, and tell him what a great human being he was. but it is what it is. And that is my Randy's my that is and ladies and gentlemen, that is all. That's my take on Randy Savage. Have yourself a good evening, a good night. Ooh, yeah.